A little backstory, if you will. Last year, I was given a dare while I was still in the last few months of high school. I was given a dare by a friend to see if I could watch this movie and if I could, well, see if I can find any flaws with this movie. And honestly, I did a review of this immediately that day. However, it was a very bad review. No budget, no such camera, even the microphone was terrible. And I just put it up in a rush. And if you were one of the 5 people who saw it, good for you. I hope you had a good laugh. But now there is a budget, now there's a camera, now there's a proper microphone, now there's a tripod, now there's a big set kind of thing here, and of course, now there's a more refined version of things, so on with the dare. Mean Girls is a movie directed by Mark Waters and written by Tina Fey, that part's important, and stars Lindsay Lohan, Rachel McAdams, Amanda Seyfried, Lizzie Kaplan, amongst others, and is the story of a girl named Katie, played by Lindsay Lohan, who has lived in Africa all her life, and she's been homeschooled throughout, and she comes to high school in America when her mother gets a job at Northwestern University, and she goes to this school knowing nobody, she doesn't have many friends, and then she finally starts to make some, and she becomes a part of a clique called the Plastics. But she finds out that these 3 girls who are part of this clique, they have a dark side. Now, to be honest, this movie actually kind of surprised me because I honestly didn't think I would like it a lot, but I did. And there are a few things of this movie that I really, really like. Did I have any problems with it? Yes, I did. There were a couple of problems I had with this movie, but I will get into that in a minute. But first, let's talk about all the positives in this movie. I can't fault the acting in this movie. Everybody in this movie did a stellar job in performing. Everyone from Lindsay Lohan to Tina Fey did an amazing, amazing job. Everyone was funny, everyone was committed to their roles, and everyone really, really understood exactly what kind of character they were playing. They lived that character as if they knew that character oh so well, and they did a fantastic job bringing those characters which were written on paper onto screen absolutely seamlessly. Which brings me to the second positive of this movie. The script of this movie is amazing. It's a really good job. However, it does have a couple of things in it which are kind of off, which I'll get into later. But as a whole, the dialogue, the whippersnapper comments, the kind of way the comedy is timed, there are some amazing moments in the script laced throughout. This movie was, again, written by Tina Fey, who's one of my favorite comedians, and she did a great job writing in some of the comedic sequences. There was a lot of laughs to be had in this movie, and a lot of unexpected stuff too. There were a few surprises in this movie along the way, particularly in its third act, and it did a really great job at bringing all these kind of elements which are kind of familiar at times and making them kind of unique in their own way together. It's a very well-paced movie. There is definitely a lot of that which is going on throughout. You never really felt bored during this movie, which is very interesting. It's a short film. It's about an hour 30 minutes long, but it never feels like an hour 30 minutes long. It feels like a fast movie. It just goes by in a breeze, which is very good, and it really helps the movie. However, there are some problems. There's definitely a few things in this movie that do get a little wrong. While these are 3 very big positives, there are a few things in this movie that just don't work. First of all, I thought as a movie, it really tried to oversell it. One of the biggest positives of this movie, actually, for me, was that it was a very relatable movie. Any high school student can watch this movie and say, I relate to that, which is a very good way of making your movie more accessible to an audience. Any millennial audience watching this movie right now would know exactly what's going on and would be able to relate to it and probably make a comment saying, oh, that happens in my high school. When you're able to get an audience like that, you definitely have a lot of good stuff going for your movie. However, in this movie, there are times where it really tries to oversell it. It kind of starts to go way too far with some stuff. They try to show it a little more mean, the way Dark Side of Cliques work. And while I understand what they're trying to do, I still did feel as a person, as a casual viewer, that they were going way too far with it, that you probably can tone it down a little bit. I wasn't exactly asking for people to stop passing snide comments at each other in the movie, but I just felt like they really started to drag that point home that this is how cliques work. And after a while, it just became repetitive until I wanted something completely unexpected to happen, which it did in the third act of the movie. But thank God for that, otherwise it was just going way too far in a couple of places, and that was one of my biggest problems with this movie. Another problem with the movie I had was that aside from the 4 girls and a couple of cast members like Lizzie Kaplan and Tina Fey, the rest of the movie's supporting cast, useless. They added nothing to the movie. There were a few characters, like I said, like Lizzie Kaplan and Tina Fey, who did something, but aside from them, the rest of the cast was pretty pointless actually. There were a lot of things in the movie which were trying to propel the plot, a lot of characters, side characters, and I felt like if you just plucked them out of the movie, yeah, they wouldn't really affect the plot, because if that one character wasn't affecting the plot, that one character with like 2 lines in the movie, then somebody else would be propelling the plot who was in the main cast of the movie between the 4 girls. So either way, this thing was going very easily, and it was kind of a shame because there's a lot of talented people in the supporting cast who are rather underused, unfortunately, including Amy Poehler, who plays Rachel McAdams' mother in this film. I felt like she was very underused, and it just felt like they were there just because they were there. You know exactly what's going to happen in the first act, you know exactly what's going to happen in the second act, and you know exactly what's going to happen in the third act. So kudos to the third act for actually having some unexpected stuff in the last 15 minutes of the movie, but aside from those unexpected 15 minutes, the rest of the third act, second act, and especially the first act, these first 2 acts felt very familiar. That being said, I can't say I didn't enjoy Mean Girls. It was definitely a fun, entertaining movie, and it's definitely a really good watch. If you want to watch something really good on a night, it's really worth a movie putting in. And it has a rewatch value, which is a really good thing. Sometimes a movie can come out and you can watch it one time and you can say you liked it, but then you never watch that movie again. This is one of those movies which you can definitely watch again from time to time. I had a few problems with it, some major problems of course, but on the whole, I still did enjoy the movie. I'm gonna give Mean Girls a 7 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll have my reviews of other movies out very soon. Please subscribe if you enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you guys later.